Good afternoon, everyone, and a very warm welcome to QuickBooks Labs podcast. This is the only QuickBooks podcast in the UK, and I think it's the best, therefore, of the QuickBooks podcasts out there. In my opinion, I think we've got, just the one bar we have to pass to be able to make it to number one. We are the QuickBooks podcast. We go live first week of every month, what we try to, and we hang around these microphones, talk about all the latest news, tips, tricks, and QuickBooks in the world of accountancy. And boy, do we have some stuff to talk about today. I'm one of your hosts, I'm Patrick, a chartered accountant, owner of accounting firm called Parfix, QuickBooks certified UK trainer, fancy new logo, and that QuickBooks chat on YouTube. And joining with me as a panel of experts, we have Johann. Would you like to take the floor?
Hello, everyone. Yeah, Johann from the On Point Accounting Group, QuickBooks strategic partner and co-host of Ask the Accountant.
Excellent, excellent. And Charlie, can you hear us and can we hear you?
Well, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Excellent.
Hey. I've been having technical problems for the last half hour, folks, but seems to have worked now. We've gone live. Excellent. I'm Charlie Khan of the eponymously, is that the right word? Name's Charlie Khan & Co., chartered accountant in West London, and run a Facebook group for QuickBooks Pro advisors.
We certainly do. Okay, so we've got a cracker install for you today. And first of all, let's make sure that we understand all of the bits and bobs that goes on. So we are live to the world at a regular time of 4:30 UK time. So if you're listening back at that time, then why not think about joining us live? That way you can get involved and ask some of your burning questions, and I'm sure they'll come through later on today. And furthermore, we're also live on podcast services around the globe. So feel free to subscribe of your podcast service of your choice. We have a cracker of an agenda. We've got some product updates, including revenue recognition and an update to Go Cardless itself. We've got some other news regarding recertification 2023. The badge 3 out of 3 is out there. We've got some news about Accountex, the future of accounting, ? And we've got some other bits and bobs just to close out the show. So let's go straight into some product updates then. So there's one major product that was released during the last month, and it was revenue recognition. So the idea would be that you can create a schedule for revenue in advance. And then that basically automatically does all the deferred income for you without you having to do absolutely anything. And it's great for things like subscriptions and membership fees and things like that, and just letting you go through. The monthly journals are automatically posted, and we'll go and show you how to enable it in the future. Basically, though, this is one of the enhancements to QuickBooks Advance, and I think we'll all agree here, the more enhancements we get to QuickBooks Advance at this point in time, the better, as it is slightly lacking in terms of features we need to really push it through the door and get it to clients out there. So before I go and show it, what's your opinion on this one? Have you seen it? Have you played around with it? Go for it. Charlie, you want to go first on this one?
I haven't seen it. It's only in advance, isn't it?
Yeah,
is that
that's right.
Yeah, I haven't played with QuickBooks Advance, so I haven't seen it, I'm afraid.
No problem. What about yourself, Johann? You seen it? Played around with it?
Yeah, seen it. Got a use case for it now. So I've got a client who's brought a gym, and one of the big stumbling blocks we're tackling at the moment with the completion accounts is that this gym's not recognized its revenue at the right periods of time. So it's done deals on like 12-month, 24-month, up to 5-year memberships. And they've just taken the revenue at the time of deposit, and they've not recognized it properly across the balance sheet and profit and loss. So this is a prime example of where this tool would come in handy. Is it going to save me, however, the big question, is it going to save me enough time each month by scheduling it properly in advance to justify the cost of advance, because this is the only feature I need, versus journaling or using Net Tracker?
That's it, isn't it? Yeah, because I really hope Ash was going to be on there, because that was the one thing I was going to bring up was Net Tracker.
Yeah.
It's a tough one, isn't it? It really is.
I don't think it's enough for me to upgrade them to advanced versus, because they don't even need plus. They're quite happy on essentials.
Oh, really?
Like, that's all they really need, because everything else is dealt with outside the product. So, yeah, for me, I think it's just going to be a Net Tracker job. But I can, if you've got value out of other parts of QuickBooks Advanced, I can see why this is going to be a powerful tool, and I can believe it will save money. I just think save time in admin. I just think it's a very niche amount of businesses out there that need revenue recognition, especially in the smaller business world, which is what QuickBooks is predominantly there for.
But I suppose when you're looking at the target market for QuickBooks Advanced, it makes more sense, doesn't it? You can understand where the need came from.
But
at that point,
are they doing well enough with all the other features or lack of to be targeting that market in the first place? Or are we just benefiting the small business market with some new tools that we don't quite need?
Yeah. It's a tricky one. Before we kind of talk about it a little bit more, let's quickly just demo it so everyone can be up to scratch on it. So really straightforward. If you go to remember this on QuickBooks Advanced. If you go to your QuickBooks Advanced, go to Accounting Setting, go to Sales, head over to the Products and Services area. You'll notice there's a revenue recognition toggle just here. Toggle that on. Now, why give you a frequency button when you can't change that? I don't know. Maybe that's just to put it into the point that is it. Or could that be a future or possible future enhancement? Potentially. I imagine it's going to be a case of how useful it, or how, like Johann just said there about the kind of use case for it, how much it gets used. We'll kind of see if there's any extra info coming out or extra feature parity coming in. And then basically when you come to create a new service now, you now get the option when you've clicked that on. I'll just press non-stop accident. My bad. There we are. So now when you go to a new service and you look at putting it in, you now have this fancy new button here. And I recognize revenue for this product monthly. And then you get to choose what that liability is account there. And again, service interval, there's a drop down box. Doesn't do it, but there is a drop down box. You put your service duration in and it will do there. I've got some examples of me playing around with it on this particular one. Let me try and find out where I put it. Was it the sales invoice? And go through from here. So I'm pretty sure this one is one. There we are. So I made it dead straight thousand, £2,400 over 12 months. So 200 odd quid a month, or exactly 200 quid. You'll notice I used my new product and service called revenue recognition. You have to put a service date in because that's where it's going to start applying this whole new deferred income. It gives you this whole new view revenue recognition here. So it's going to tell you when it's already applied it, and you can kind of hover over it as well. And that's going to tell you that it's already posted that particular one. And it gives you the schedule of when it's going to post the rest. So that basically the liability goes from 2,200 back down to zero. And then posted nicely £200 each time. If I do click on here, good example then of what it's posted. It's posted that that journal for me automatically, taken 200 quid into revenue recognition, which is the sales account that I was using, taking 200 quid out of my deferred revenue account sat there as well. So, I mean, they've made it really simple. It is literally a case from your client's point of view of just making sure they pick the right product and service, and then it's going to do the revenue recognition for them. So kudos to that, because it couldn't be any simpler. As long as they put that service date in, they're off to the races at that point. So yeah, now you've kind of seen it a little bit more. Any more thoughts on it, Charlie? Johann,
it looks rather good. But the thought that occurred to me that would be applicable to many more businesses would be, can they do the same thing if you've, the other way around on prepayments or things like that, where you paid for, let's say, you paid for a subscription, let's say, for a year on January the 1st, and you want to recognise over 12 months. That at the moment, what I tend to do is, if I pay for a year in advance, what I tend to do is I reverse out the entire. So I reverse out 11 months at the end of month one, and then reverse that journal. I mean, I do it all the first time the transactions occurred. So I always reverse out my accruals and prepayments the day I create them. I just future date them. But that's
No, unfortunately, this is just purely deferred revenue. That's all this will go through from here.
Well, they could add to that in the future, but it looks very nice. I'm going to have to run off the doorbell, but I'll be back in a moment.
No worries. Johann, what do you think? At least, functionality wise, what do you think?
I think they've made it very user friendly. I think it doesn't rely on accountants to use it. It can be used by your clients quite nicely, and the accountant can sleep well at night knowing that because they've set it up. As long as that first date, which is you're going to have to hammer that home, as long as that date's right, you're sorted.
And you can't backdate that date as well. That's
so you need to be on top of your admin then.
You do. So one of the small kind of caveats to this, I would say, is that those journal entries that you can see one's been posted here, look, just there. Yeah. They're your typical recurring transaction. Basically, that's what it's doing. It's building that recurring transaction. So you can't backdate any of this. This is purely stuff that's happening in the future, and you work on it from there.
Right. Yeah, that's a bit more restrictive because if we take my client, the gym, for example, they aren't going to sit there every day and enter into QuickBooks the sales they've done for that day of memberships.
Yeah,
they've got a gym management platform that does all of that.
Yeah.
So actually, we're still looking at potentially journaling and running reports.
There'll be manual work for you anyway, won't they? Just getting the data in the first place.
Yeah.
One thing I haven't been
silly. I was going to say that reminds me of the way they do recurring transactions. That you can't set a if you come to it towards the end of the year, you can't set up a recurring transaction for the past, and then which you could do on desktop years ago. You could set it up in the past and tell it to just do it on the first of each month. And when you refresh the screen, it went, oh, hold on a second, this was set up a year ago. I better post 12 transactions, and off it does. Off it goes. But it doesn't do that with online. This sounds very similar, and I cannot see a reason why they would restrict that.
I guess the whole tech is around whenever that day comes in, and it will just do it that night, won't it?
Right, but it could recognize a historic date and say, oh, I missed 12.
Yeah, it doesn't do that. Because just so you know, like if you look at the examples I've got here, this one I'd said 29th of the 4th, but I'd already put it as the starting date to be May, so that's fine. I wouldn't have expected any adjustments there. This one though, this one here, I actually said that it was for 12 months, but it was April would be the first month, so the month that's just gone. And it had to wait until the end of the month to put that first one in. So from a monthly management point of view, you're always going to have to wait until the end by looks of it for it to bring those revenue recognitions into play. So yeah, it's definitely something that is user friendly, but I kind of see it's going to be very, very use casey at this point, isn't it? It's
very niche. It's a good start.
Because what I haven't figured out yet is, can you connect it to say, and I should have checked this before going live, but can you connect it to say Squarespace or anything like that for people who are buying subscriptions online? Is it clever enough that you could do an API link to bring it in to do a sales receipt and go from there? But you don't get to put service dates in at that point because I don't think you've got an option to even bring service dates in as an API. So
no,
I imagine it wouldn't work.
No, and I know how slow the API is to be built out with new features onto that API that have been out for a while. So I very much doubt this is on there.
Yeah. In fact, there's no way it is there? Let's be honest. There's absolute no way.
It's a good start.
Yeah.
And I don't believe Xero have any kind of automated revenue recognition feature at all. So great. It does them. Free Agent don't. Sage depends on the product, I suppose. With Sage, they might have something available as a revenue recognition tool, but
imagine those higher ones, wouldn't you? The Intact and stuff. Yeah.
So yeah, it's nice as it's a good starting point. I'll be interested to see where they go with it in the future.
Yeah, I must admit I got overly excited when I first heard of it because in my mind I don't know why I put the two and two together, but I thought this would be this new subscription area we talked about. Was it 6 months ago? Maybe longer now. And now I'm worried that this is what the subscription is, and it's just going to be shown as a thing. But we will see. I'm still hopeful that this new subscription solution, whatever it's going to be, is going to solve a lot of problems out there. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. All right, so that was update number 1 to the product. Lukewarm reception, I'll tell on that one, but at least it's an update nonetheless. So it's something we can get excited about to see if they come through. I mean, the question is, would that have been the update you were expecting for QuickBooks Advance, or did you think they were kind of bringing something else to the table? What is there anything else that they should have concentrated on first? Well, any thoughts on that?
I mean, personally, I think group structuring and handling multiple companies in one license would have been a bigger thing. I think there'd be more use cases for that feature, which doesn't rely on a bloody export to an Excel sheet. Like, I want it in product. There would be more use cases there than there would be for a revenue recognition. Like, when I look at my client base, I have more clients with like holding companies and stuff, because they're starting to go out into different areas, and they've seen the importance of separating out different industries into different limited companies, etc. They might be going into property, whatever they're doing. I've got more use case examples of that in real life data than I've got one potential where revenue recognition would be helpful, but actually it's still going to be too manual anyway.
Yeah, agreed. And Charlie, you've still not used Advance. What are you waiting for so you can start making that jump?
I'm not sure I am waiting for anything.
Not interested.
Well, I mean, I like the kind of the idea that QuickBooks is a product aimed at sort of the vast majority of the sort of sub 5 million turnover companies. I take your point, Johann, about groups or even sort of formal group structure, about having multiple companies. I take that point. I imagine that's a very complex one for them to do, because it has so many particularly when you think they're bringing in books to tax and all the rest of it, the complexities that would involve if they're producing stat accounts from group accounts, that would be rather complex, I imagine. So
in my head, it's a case of mapping.
Well, yeah.
Just mapping, get rid of categories or whatever, and or have a new thing like this. This all belongs to this company. When we run the P&L, it goes to that.
Oh, that's easy. I mean, it's similar to classes or tags or whatever. It's just another version of that, effectively.
Yeah, and the same principle will be when we're journaling between companies.
Yeah. And then I guess their argument would be they're losing a license, aren't they? Maybe they just charge more if you want to do that.
I mean, they're charging £70 a month for this.
That's true. Yeah, it's a fair point.
Yeah.
I would say that gives you 2 or 3 businesses on it, and then maybe £10 a month for every business above that.
Yeah, fair point.
True. But if you restrict it to only 25 users for a group structure, you might use those users quite quickly if they're all.
And with every
is it still restricted to 25?
Company you add on,
it is for Advanced. Yeah, you get 25 users.
Wow.
But if they say, right, it's £70, you get up to 3 limited companies on that and 25 users. And for every new limited company you want to add on to that, it's a £10 bolt-on a month. And you also get another 5 or 10 users on top of that.
Okay, I can see how that works. Yeah, and that would be quite attractive, wouldn't it? So,
just a reminder to our
beside QuickBooks, I'll come and show you how to run your business.
But I would just throw in a reminder to our audience that for those of you who are pro advisors, which I imagine is the vast majority, we get unlimited. When we're pro advisors doing wholesale billing, we get unlimited users. So.
Do we? Charlie,
false advertising.
Yeah,
you've just broken a lot of hearts out there, Charlie.
Well, I've
used to be that way.
I've had over 20. I've had over 20.
It used to be
license.
On an old license.
Oh.
Yeah. That's not the case anymore.
Wow.
It's one of the perks that got taken away from us. The wound's still there.
Wow. So my old license. Okay. Thank you.
Right, Charlie. You just keep digging that knife in, reminding us all of those wounds. It's fine.
I'm struggling to think of a client where we've got more than 2 users.
Oh, I've got plenty of
I've got plenty of quite a
10 odd users. That's quite that's quite thingy. But it is, it was a great perk, wasn't it, when we could just have unlimited on there. But them's the rules. Okay, other updates we've got just to clear off our updates to QuickBooks. Go Cardless saw a little upgrade as well, update. And you know what really reminded me of this is how crucial Go Cardless actually is. And I think a lot of people don't realize how powerful it actually is as a product. It's one of the best examples of the integration we've ever had, isn't it? And to think it's actually probably the deepest integration that's ever happened in QuickBooks. And but at this point, the way it's going, they probably ever will. But GoCard's had a great new update. It's now available in multiple currencies. So before you could only have the UK, GBP. I think they tried to bring Euro in at one point as like a beta. And it went horribly wrong, didn't it? But now it's all set up. 8 different currencies, set up multi-currencies normal. Automatically more invoices paid as you expect, and automatically enters your fees. I take it we all use auto entry here. Go Cardless here.
Yep.
Yeah. Great little addition to this, isn't it?
Oh, it's fantastic.
You know, just makes things easier for us, doesn't it?
Yeah. And I've had clients that have opted for Stripe over Go Cardless because of the multi-currency subscription facility.
Yeah.
So, and then we have all this Stripe data that we've then got to manually input to QuickBooks or put through Dex Commerce or something. So, this is a big win for us. Although I have to plug, Dex Commerce is really impressing me with Stripe data at the moment. Like nearly 60,000 transactions dealt with in 1 year's backup worth of data the other day. No hassle at all.
I am jealous. I can't slate who I use because I got an affiliate link with them, but they still struggle. They still really struggle with Stripe. The rest of the connections are great, but yeah, and I still get money from the affiliate link, so can't slate them too much. But yeah, no, I should have jumped on the Dex bandwagon as well for that one. I think, well, commerce. But no, I'm really happy with this. My one big gripe about Go Cardless, which I'm so jealous of the zero crowd for that they get, and I don't think we'll ever get this, is that when you sign up a new customer on QuickBooks, it's still a little bit wishy-washy of getting that link over to them. You know, you got to kind of generate an invoice and press the little button and hope it goes through and everything, blah blah blah. And if you don't do it that way, it's a rigmarole to get a client data connected.
You've then got to import the list and then go through and match the mandates. And
if it's anything like mine, you've got 100 odd clients that aren't actually on the list anymore, and they've all mismatched or whatever. You got to find the right one and all that sort of stuff. Where on Zero, should I say, if you create a new customer, you have an option just to automatically send that invoice, that link out, without you having to do anything. So pure automation there. So very jealous that kind of they've got that option. And when it came to QuickBooks Advanced, that was the one bit that I was playing around with that automation area that I just thought this could win it for us. But no, it's
we were looking at putting an API for into Client Engager for Go Cardless.
But then we'll have
you sign up your client, you onboard them onto Go Cardless. But then we've still got that rigmarole in QuickBooks bit of importing the list, working out which mandate, because they never put their names down right. Like some random names on the bank that's got nothing to do with anything you've spoken to them about so far, and you're like, well, what's the match?
Presumably, that's only if you're setting up a whole lot of people at once, is it, Johann?
No, what's that? No, every time you create a new Go Cardless link outside of QuickBooks. So every time you create a new Go Cardless link outside of QuickBooks, you then have to refresh the list in QuickBooks to bring in the mandate, and then you have to match it to the customer.
I see what you mean. Yeah. I've not set them up outside. I've not set them up outside QuickBooks, so I haven't had the issue, I guess.
Yeah,
but it is a manual job, isn't it? It's the biggest job in the world, but you've got to log into QuickBooks, go to that customer, then have to send it over, isn't it? You know, create an invoice and pretend to send one over. It could be, well, you've seen in Zero, it's a much cleaner operation.
Yeah. And I've had it where we've done it outside of QuickBooks, imported it, and a staff member's gone in and gone, that's that person. And we've ended up billing or taking payments for someone else's bill from another customer's bank account because they had the same name.
Yeah.
And it's like, I get where the mistake came from, and I can't tell them off for it necessarily, but it makes us look like idiots. Yeah. Whereas actually, if QuickBooks just had a nicer live feed and matching process, it wouldn't have been an issue.
Definitely. And also, changing bank accounts can be a nightmare, can't it, for a client? Like, there's no easy way of doing it. It is, again, cancel the mandate, send it over to him.
Well, here's the thing. No, so I had that this last month. So a client of mine closed his Metro account and moved over to, I can't remember if it's Starling or Revolut.
It must have been revolutionary for him. The concept of using open banking.
Yeah. Well, the reason he stopped using Metro, by the way, just as an aside, was that Metro don't have the confirmation of pay thing. So all his customers were complaining that when they were trying to pay him, their banks were saying we don't recognise this account. So that's why he switched. But anyway, but what he did is he got Metro then, or he got the new bank, Revolut or Starling, to do the sort of bring over all my direct debits and standing orders, and his payment to me through GoCard just worked smoothly. Absolutely fun. He didn't have to do anything at all. Yeah, that worked well.
If they're transferring, it's got so much better, hasn't it? I even myself, when I was part of that bandwagon that got forced out of NatWest, moved over to Starling and all, and when NatWest had to get rid of a load of account, I was shocked how easy that actually was. It literally was. I filled in one form, the rest of it was done. Everything moved over, including people paying me standing orders to my old account was just moved over to mine, no problem. But if the client just wants, exactly. But if the client just wants to move bank for whatever reason, maybe they start as a sole trader and then they're going to a limited or whatever the reason's going to be. It is a rigmarole. Yeah, it's a rigmarole for them.
But if they are becoming a limited company from sole trader, they would have to do a new mandate anyway because it is a new business. And you'd have. I agree,
but all they wanted to do was change their bank account over. You know what I mean? Like that's. But to do that, it's cancel a bank, go in, change it over, move it over. Yeah, so it's rigmarole.
The one thing, very briefly, if I may, you mentioned just the start of this was about GoCard is bringing in multi-currency. I did have a look at this when they announced it. Was it a week ago, 2 weeks ago? That if you want, for example, suppose you got a customer abroad and you want them to pay you, it can come into your sterling bank account. But if you want them to pay you and they're paying from a foreign currency bank account, you have to invoice them in that foreign currency. What's annoying is you still can't invoice them in sterling and just have them pay you from whatever currency their bank account is. Which I don't know how to do that, but that it can't do apparently.
That's very strange. Very strange. But good feedback. Okay, cool. That is our product updates done and dusted on QuickBooks. It's not a bad little update, I don't think. I think that's fine. Speaking of updates, in fact, before we speak of updates, we did mention this at the start of the show. What the date is today? It's May the 4th. It's Star Wars Day, isn't it?
It is. May the 4th.
We should have started with that with maybe a bit of fanfare on it and everything else. Just to make you all jealous, I was gifted a nice little present as well from the other half. We got Star Wars donuts. So, so we're happy with them. Got Yoda and all sorts and BB-8 and everyone that's there. And QuickBooks got in on the act as well. So they've got their social media campaign was blown they've blown up some QuickBooks Star Wars one. So I'll talk them through them and then I'll show them on screen so people can see it. So what do you call someone who starts a business in a galaxy far, far away? A solo trader.
Oh.
No, we're not liking that one. No, I quite like that
jokes.
One. That one didn't hit what I was expecting. We've got no chance for the rest of them then. What is HMRC's favorite science fiction movie? Tax Return of the Jedi. Wow, I was expecting this to drop better than this.
I mean, that one, they really ought to have done something about the 21-day strike that they're going on. HMRC strike. Oh, no, they've not come back yet.
Yeah, exactly. It's still on. How do businesses in space calculate their earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization? I didn't like this one. By using EBITDA Vader.
That's better. Yeah. I like that one.
You see, I like the first two. I really like the first two. Didn't. Okay. So, all right. What do you call a hairy creature that works for HMRC?
An employee.
Chewbacca auditor. Yeah. We've already done that one. And what did the accountant get fired from the spaceship? Or what? Sorry, why did the accountant get fired from their spaceship?
He was dull.
He couldn't balance the force or the books.
Oh, yeah.
I really like. I was expecting more from that.
We've got some cracker jokes in there, haven't we?
Oh.
Yeah, true.
Don't give up the day job would be my.
Yeah. Or go and get a job in a cracker factory ready for Christmas. You will do well.
Oh no, I thought that was. Oh, where's Charlie gone?
Charlie's gone. That's how bad those jokes were. He's walked off.
He's off. I thought that was good. Especially the first two, I thought they're brilliant. And here we go. File the tax return you must. So we even got AJ coming in and putting some more crackers in there as well. Awesome. All right. Okay. So we've had the fun with that one. So what else has happened in the world of accountancy? Well, Research 2023 went live. Charlie, back with us?
He's coming back. Charlie's back.
I'm back with you. Can you hear me? Yeah. Sorry,
yep.
my text.
Awesome.
Gremlins are killing me.
No worries. So Research 2023 went live. So have you all completed your recertification? Is question number one. I know Johann has, but Charlie, have you done recertification?
No, I got the email. It's on my list. I've just been busy, and next week is account. I'm going to do it after Accountex.
Really? You do realize that the first 250 people get themselves a nice little bit of swag?
What I'm in it for. That's what we want is the prize. I mean, I did it 100% first time round. Quite happy with that.
Very well done.
My ops manager did it 96.4. Sacked. Gone. She says, I know which question it was I need to re-answer. I know which one I got wrong. Is that right? But it won't let me redo it. Yeah, gone. P60.
P60?
P45. That's why I'm not in payroll.
Johann, you're from the Dominic Raab School of Leadership, are you?
Yeah. Get it right or get out.
Yeah.
Well, Kirsty's done hers. She's hoping for the swag. Yep. Let's hope you were one of those first 250. But no, so, I mean, Charlie, can't really give any thoughts then if you've not completed it yet. I mean,
it's terrible.
Have you seen anything of it? Have you looked at any of the training or anything? Any feedback at all? Have you seen anything online? Anyone said anything?
I've got notifications of it, but I was away for the before and after the bank holiday, and then so I haven't had time. That's it. My because it only it was less than a week ago, wasn't it? When you were out, it's opened up, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was
yesterday.
Yesterday.
Oh, yesterday. Well, no wonder then. Give me a break. My God,
I'm going to be forefront of this. But a question to you then, Charlie, before we go to Johann and get his opinion on it.
Yeah.
Obviously, Xero did a recertification-esque not so long ago, about 6 months ago, was it? Something like that. And had a bit of
do one every quarter.
Yeah, they had a bit of a bad rep for not being able to kind of hit the heights that people are expecting. From what you know from your group and everything else, any backlash from QuickBooks this year, or has it all been seen positive?
No, I don't think I've had any negative backlash, because I mean it's only an annual thing, isn't it? We don't have to do it more than once a year, and it does serve. I mean, I certainly support the idea of doing it. I think once a year is enough, and it's a very, very good idea. I mean, the key thing is they're not that difficult, but the key thing is to remind people to look at the latest training, because there will always be new features you haven't used before. So I always do look at the training beforehand. I mean, you guys do training, so you know this stuff, but because there's always something I think, I wasn't really aware of quite how that works, so I'll do that before I do the actually sit the test. So it is a very, very useful thing that they do this every year. So I completely support it.
Yeah,
I've just been.
Awesome.
I haven't done it within the first 24 hours. Sue me.
I mean, I do. I mean, I helped write the course, so I did have a bit of a head start on that one, and knowing when it was going live and everything. But yeah, no, it was good. Yeah. Go on then, Johann. I'm sure you've got some.
Remind people they've got till the end of June. I think it's the end of June, I believe.
They do, 30th of June, and do get it done, because if you don't,
you're out.
Yeah, you'll lose it. Yeah. And if you don't remember from last year or the year before, whichever one it was, there's actually an area where you're barred from taking even the full course. So if you don't get it done, then you're forced to do the full course again, which you don't want to do. But also there's a time period where you don't have time. You can't do either the research or the full course, as it all resets itself. So you're ended up not being able to do it at all, and you'll have a period of just not being pro certified, so it's all good. Johann, go on then. What's your opinion on it so far?
Just on some people will be like, oh, so what about that not being pro certified? I mean, we commit to our clients that we promote QuickBooks, and all of our team are pro certified, either to the minimum standard or to the advanced for the more senior team members. So we've made it a customer commitment that our team know the product, so they've got to be recertified. But also, you lose your certification, you lose your QuickBooks listing on their directory. We pick up 2 or 3 inquiries a month out of that, so it's important that we have it. It's a good steady source of marketing. In fact, we've just picked up one of our biggest ever clients off the back of it. So normally, don't get me wrong, the inquiries that come in are because someone's downloaded the app and now they need a bit of help. They may be worth up to about 150 quid a month. They're really small little businesses. But yeah, we've just picked up one of our biggest clients off the back of that inquiry because we were listed there. So yeah, well worth it. But yeah,
you forget, don't you, that's one of the perks, don't you? But you're right. Yeah.
What did I think to it? I mean,
but also you get better telephone support.
Yeah.
Well, sorry.
The better, telephone support. You ring up QuickBooks for support. You've got that, and that's not to be sniffed at. They are very, very good on that line. Extremely good.
Yeah, completely. Yeah, 100%. Go on then, Johann, your opinion.
What did I think? The guy doing the webinar was a bit rubbish, but he needs a bit more practice.
Oh, Rash.
No, it was very good.
When he's down.
The webinar was great. It was insightful. It was short. It was to the point.
Was it short though? I mean, that's the, again,
it could be shorter, but then I know the product more. So I think it was important that they spent the time they did on the areas, because a lot of people like working papers. How long has that been out for now? And we still get people at Accountex saying, "Oh, I didn't know you had working papers."
Exactly right. Yeah.
Right. So you've missed all the communications. You've not done recertification. Like, how many times can we make this really clear that it's there? So yeah, no, I think the training was good. The handout was very helpful and to the point and concise. And it's a good little notes thing to have, just to have that handout as a bulletin of these are all the updates and changes. Like that in itself was really helpful. And then I didn't want to upset Aaron this year by doing it on the bus, because he felt that I cheapened and simplified the experience for his training. So I did it on my armchair this time.
I thought you said you hide out a limo.
No, I did it on my armchair on my iPad with a cup of coffee. So it was still a very relaxed experience. It didn't stress me out or anything. I don't know where you got the timing advice from. Like this section, these 10 questions are going to take an average of 25 minutes. I mean, I think I did all 3 in about under 15. And I took a phone call in that. But yeah, it was good. It was fantastic. And the reason I like to get on it and get on with it is because the swag box you get, it's not a repeat of anything else that's out there. It is unique. So it's not like I'm going to go to Accountex next week and get all the swag that is going to arrive in the post if I'm one of the first 200. I mean, I did it in the first hour. I'd like to think I made it to the list.
Let's hope so. Yeah.
There will be an appeal and a recount if I didn't. But that box is a unique box. So like I got a Camelback QuickBooks water bottle off it, etc. It wasn't something that's available elsewhere in any of the other events. So it's bespoke.
Blanket one year, wasn't it?
Yeah. So it was good. So yeah, and I am loving Kirsty's comment. Have we seen what Kirsty has said? So the next Zero research is on the 10th of May, when we'll all be at Accountex. Know your market. I mean, you're in accounting software in the accounting space in the UK. Your accounting UK team is doing the research certification. They're going to go in, realize the office is a bit quiet because the whole Zero team is at Accountex, and they're going to expect everyone to turn up and do a research. And what are they going to be told? There's a new font in the report section.
Yeah.
It's. Oh, sorry, no. We've also put profit and loss into Zero Go.
That is a big one. I think that's what their announcement for Accountex was, wasn't it? I think we've just spoiled it. Yeah.
So know your audience. Come on, guys. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. But yeah, no, I appreciate the fact we don't have to turn up 4 times a year. Well, I mean, it used to be monthly at one point with 0, but we don't have to turn up 4 times a year to maintain our status or reset the whole exam. I think we do need an exam of some sort.
Yeah.
To ensure that we are maintaining our knowledge of the product, because the amount of people that didn't maintain the knowledge of their product before this came in over the last few years was phenomenal. So yeah, no, I'm very happy with it. It didn't take me that long. And I walked away having realized there was some bits that I had forgotten about as well.
Oh, that's good to hear. Oh, excellent. Excellent. All around then. So basically, recertified for 2023.
Yep.
Appreciate that feedback of that one. Right. Okay. Next question. And we'll go Charlie first. Have you got all 3 of your badges?
See, I'm going to have to go sit on the naughty step.
How many badges you got so far, Charlie?
How has he got a seat on this panel?
Yeah. Can I plead the 5th? I've got the first one.
You got the first one.
Yeah, I've got the first one.
second one.
You're so 2022.
What was the second one? Marketing, wasn't it, or something? No, that was the first one. Was marketing.
Training.
Yeah,
It's one of my proudest ever bits of content I've ever done. You know, I talked about it on the screen of how excited I was for it. Yeah. So training was the second one.
After Accountex and do my research and do my training and product badges. Yeah.
And then product was the third. So you've got 1 out of the 3. Yeah, and I assume you've got all 3.
I have, but I've got a bone of contention.
Me too on this one. Yeah.
So I've been entered into 3 prize draws.
Okay, it's different. Okay, we're going down a different route. Go for it.
Apparently, I've won a prize on the pro marketing one, and a member of the team will be in touch. Now, I've seen on social media a lot of people getting boxes of chocolate.
But I think I've got a solution. I think I know the answer to that one. I'll talk to you about that in a minute. I think that might be the next bit.
I've not got a box of chocolate
because I think that box of chocolate's separate. I think possibly. But you're right. I've may have won the award as well, not received anything yet. But that I feel like there's something coming on that one. I feel like that's thing.
My box of chocolate.
I don't think it's chocolate. I think it's something else. My only thing about this one, I feel like we weren't talking to one another here, because obviously, again, I've said it many times, I was involved in the training module. So why was the product module the same time exactly the same products, the same topics? Have you not noticed that training we did?
Yeah, I did realise that.
Yeah, we did books review, then work papers.
But I'll tell you what, it made the third one really easy.
Books review, then work papers.
But it felt like
very important.
Use different softwares as well. Because on the training one, I couldn't be naughty and skip ahead.
Yeah, I know.
On the video, I just had to sit and grin and bear it. I mean, I had to sit and take in all the information that was really helpful.
My most important.
But on the product one, I could just skip to the last 10 seconds and watch the credits, and then I passed. I think there needs to be a bit more assessment of the information absorbed in these sessions.
Yeah, maybe
it doesn't need to be a three-part 30-question exam, but maybe 4 or 5 questions about each video or each section, just to prove that you've taken on board what you've said you've done. And I feel like it started with an absolute bang. I think I just maybe didn't quite hit the landing with this one. And I think the only reason for that is I feel like it was missing that something like that exam or that question or something just to qualify for it or thing it. Validate.
Yeah. But I suppose the thing is, what else would you want to see from this salute or this service? I mean, that's the hardest question, is it? Because they're trying to do it to all, aren't they? So, marketing was a great starting point. I definitely learned some things out of there. Training, I'd like to think, was a good one. Product one, yes, it has to be product, but maybe it should be product outside the rest of the family, almost like maybe MailChimp or QuickBooks Advanced or something. I don't know. It just feels like there was something quite missed on that last one, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Which is a shame. Which is a shame. But we've got our badges. Well, some of us have got our badges.
I've got my badges. I've got all my badges now. I've got my free pro skill badges. I've got my advanced badge, my normal badge, my research badge.
You just don't have your swag, Johann, do you? That's all you're missing.
I'm missing my box of chocolate.
Yeah.
Okay. So
I got my appreciation box though, with some nuts in it and some vegan cookies and stuff.
Well, I got one of the. I got a box of some nuts and some. I don't know what it was. It arrived a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah. Well, I think the box came. Well, then maybe I'm wrong then, because I thought the box came from this next bit of news, which was the thank you accountant.
That box did come from that, but I think if you won the prize on the pro skills thing, you got like a voucher or something to go and buy a box of chocolate from this chocolate crafter that uses QuickBooks.
Oh, really? So it was chocolate then?
Yeah. Okay. And I've not got it. If you're listening at QuickBooks, it's not too late. I just want 2 boxes by way of apologies.
I mean,
if that's not resolved this week, I'm going to escalate it when I go to the Accountex next week.
You do have the trainers. I can see them from here. So, you know, at the end of the day, true. So for people who didn't see it, there was a great little campaign put out there. Thank you, accountants. Tax season is finally over. On behalf of small business area, enjoy a free gift on us. Actually, I don't know if it's still live, but at the time you could scan the little QR code and get sent a nice little treat. And I thought that was the one that everyone was posting. I thought it was that treat, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe
I don't know. I'm not opposed to any chocolate. I thought you scanned that QR code and it took you to like a playlist and a Calm or a subscription to a mental health app. Is that not what that did?
Did it? I thought it sent you to like put some name in and get a
I don't know. There's too
box
much
of goodies sent to you. I
mean,
maybe.
I think I got the box of goodies regardless of not using the QR code.
But it was a great little or was it get peace of mind with tax deadline? So maybe it was that
Yeah,
maybe. Okay, but it's still I really appreciate it. I mean, literally that was me walking through London and that just popped up.
Yeah,
so.
And no one really spoke about it whatsoever actually, but there was an underlining mental health well-being message and freebies within QuickBooks Connect as well. So you could get access to like a Calm playlist.
In the app?
No, at QuickBooks Connect, there was like QR codes and stuff. And in like the speaker thank you bag, there was like a lavender candle and stuff. Like there was an underwritten message of mental health, which was very subtly done, but very nicely done. I don't think QuickBooks got any or enough credit for that.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah, completely. Kirsty says that I got the wellness box, nice hamper for afternoon tea. So yeah, it's gone well. I think it was a really nice campaign, wasn't it? It was a really and like you said, like the idea of more mental health awareness and kind of going through that. I think that it's really appreciated, isn't it? I think it's hitting the right spots.
Someone did mention to me that it was lovely, like the vegan chocolate peanut butter cookie and nuts and stuff. He said, like, the ultimate thank you was that if my wife touched it, she'd be dead because of the nut allergies. It's like, so we've ticked the vegan box, but if you've got a nut allergy, you're in trouble here.
It's hard though, isn't it? Yeah. I remember
food and drink's a nightmare. Like we've looked at it from an accounting firm's point of view of do we do like food and drink as thank you presents and stuff? And trying to tick all the boxes, you're always going to leave someone annoyed and upset.
I remember a story from when QuickBooks were trying to like encourage people when they were working from home and everything, and they said everyone can get themselves a pizza and stuff, and the amount of like issues that could bring because what if they can't have pizza? What about this? And so is always going to be difficult, isn't it? Really, really tricky to get that one to win. But yeah, we did have one more thing. We can quickly throw through it. Accountex, we're all excited for it. Charlie, you're going to Accountex, right? I mean, you know,
you've heard about that, right?
I've heard of Accountex. Yeah. I don't have to watch videos with you guys on them. That's the reason I go there.
So we're really excited for Accountex. I think we talked about enough on the other show, haven't we, about how excited we are. I thought we'd just end the day though talking about what we think is going to get announced. Now, I can't imagine anything being announced from QuickBooks really, other than updates to what was done in QuickBooks Connect. Because let's be honest, QuickBooks Connect is where all the new announcements are and should be made. But it'd be good to get some updates on the practice management solution and things are going and everything else. But it would also be good to see what's happening with the partners of QuickBooks. And, one of the things we've already been told to come in is that a little solution called Pixie is having an update, and that may or may not be relevant to QuickBooks. Who knows? Obviously, we still not allowed to confirm one way or another. But let's imagine in an alternative universe that was relevant in any way. They've gone down the AI route and given you the option to be able to use ChatGPT, et cetera. And Charlie, you said that there's another tool out there that can use ChatGPT as well. So while we're talking about the whole idea of what's going to be announced, everything, Charlie, do you want to go through your experiences with it and what you've got to say about that?
Yeah, so I've mentioned this tool quite a few times before, but I think it's definitely bears repeating. Write Tool, which is a Chrome extension that was created by a couple of guys in the States, Hector Garcia and Mark Coram. And there's a free version and a paid version. The free version gives you some basic facilities, and it's absolutely brilliant. And they're always, probably twice a week there are updates. But the one that I was most interested in recently, was announced last night or this morning, is they've now built ChatGPT as a button. This is in the paid for version of Write Tool. So in a report, so I tried it this morning. I just ran a P&L report on a new company that's started trading middle of last year. It doesn't have any revenue yet, but got a whole bunch of costs. Ran the report. At the bottom of the report in QuickBooks was, click here for ChatGPT. It pops up a question, and and you can change. I can't remember now if you can change the question or not, but it basically says, "I'm an experienced accountant and I understand the accounts, but what could I tell a client about this report?" And 2 seconds later, it popped up, with sort of 4 or 5 bullet points. Well, you might be concerned that there's no revenue. This particular cost heading is significantly larger than last year. It picks. It's basic at the moment, but it's very impressive.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I presume they're using their own sort of license with ChatGPT. I don't know if they're using the free 3.5 or the paid for version 4. I don't know. But very impressive.
Yeah, and from an accounting point of view, we're kind of waiting for our tools to get the ChatGPT experience, aren't we? We've seen how good it is on Microsoft, Google, and everything else, and what they can do from there. Grammarly's just had an amazing update that kind of leverages all of that sort of stuff, and it really does show. And with the likes of Pixie and Carbon was one of the other ones, starting to bring in. It's going to be really useful when our tools start getting that functionality. Especially when it is a practice management solution or your bookkeeping solution, your QuickBooks solution. The amount of data that they can grab from there and start giving us actual useful bits of information is brilliant. I mean, I was reading one idea where it could tell you, like, if you're going to request a document off someone, for example, with the right ChatGPT tool and everything else, the tool could tell you, whoa, don't send that email because you've actually already asked it, or they actually sent it this and it's actually here, sort of thing. Like, that's the power we could get to at some point. And that could be massive for our firms, can't it? So with the idea that possibly Pixie's having this, or Pixie's definitely having this update, but do you think that's something that maybe QuickBooks practice management solution could leverage off as well? Is it possible?
Trick question.
I'm just thinking, are we in dreamland? Like, is this the sort of idea that we could get the same solution of everything that Pixie's now talking about? Can we see that in QuickBooks practice management as well? Do you reckon
QuickBooks openly discussed AI technology at QuickBooks Connect. They're looking to use it to help spot issues with VAT returns, tax returns when that comes out. They're looking to use it in the same way the tool Charlie's using. It will help generate sentences and insights on management reports. SIF Analytics has already got that, which has been quite interesting to play with. So yeah, what I find interesting is the radio silence about AI from QuickBooks' competitors. Because I've not heard Xero make mention of AI. I've not heard Sage make mention of AI.
That's true.
Like, if QuickBooks is the first to be talking about it and implementing even minor steps, then it's a big win. But it's not the big boys, I think, that will make use of it first. I think we're going to see the likes of SIF Analytics, etc., Right Tool. They're going to be the ones that can make big strides in this area ahead of it, because they've got a more dynamic development team and a better structure to build around.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, it makes sense.
But it'd be interesting
can
to see
we realistically see updates to lights of Pixie and stuff then start feeding their way in? Is that?
Yeah.
Do you reckon? Do you reckon that's what this, benefit of kind of going down this route of? Let's be honest, they're not building their own practice management tool; they're leveraging it off someone else. Is that where the benefit comes from? Because we're undecided, aren't we? As if this, this practice management tool is going to be the be all or end all, or if it's going to, how it's going to fit into our practice. Maybe this is one of the benefits of it. If it's going to be able to just, have those developments come in day out. What do you think, Charlie?
Well, I mean, there's two aspects, aren't there, really? So there's the practice management side of it, and so whatever Pixie does, as we've said earlier, we can neither confirm nor deny nor have any knowledge of whether Pixie has anything to do with the practice management solution that QuickBooks is going to be launching. But so that can see that there. But there's also far more that QuickBooks could do with AI than around practice management. I mean, if you remember about 3, 4, maybe even 5 years ago, they had a video that they threw out at every event of someone getting into the taxi after a meeting and when's my inventory going to run low? Where can I order from? Oh, this supplier can't get it, but don't worry, I can get it from that supplier. And doing all this kind of stuff. Now, whether or not you're talking to the app on your phone is a separate issue. But the AI facility that the software could tell you, proactively tell you on screen that you're kind of when things are running low, what you could do as an option, or you could ask it specific questions and use AI around the general accounting thing, a bit like I just described it's been done already with Right Tool. And when you think of the funding available to the two guys at Right Tool and the funding available to a massive multi-billion-dollar company like Intuit, I would be staggered, absolutely staggered, if they did not have 50, 100 people at Intuit in Mountain View working on AI. They must. This will be as world changing in the next few years as the internet was 20 or 25, whatever it was, years ago. It will be as world changing as that. And any large company that is not spending a huge resource investigating AI is as idiotic as Microsoft with the internet in the early days. If you remember that Microsoft didn't want to touch the internet in the early days and didn't have a browser. It would be that short-sighted. So I would be staggered if Intuit weren't investing very, very, very heavily in this. Yeah,
makes sense. I suppose that's the beauty of Accountex, isn't it? We can go to the vendor themselves, talk to them and ask the questions and see what he's like. Because I think, there'll be more surprises that we're not aware of at Accountex and more announcements that's the point of it, isn't it? We can find out on the floor itself. So with that, then I think that's the end of today. Johann, Charlie, who wants to go first? Who wants to kind of plug and tell people what's happening and where they can find you and all that good stuff?
Go on, Charlie.
All right. So just as a reminder that I have a group on Facebook called QuickBooks Pro Advisors. And any of you who are at Accountex, I'm there both days next week. And if trying to find a pro advisor group on Facebook is too complicated, I'm having some cards delivered tomorrow with a little QR code that will take you straight there. So if you bump into me at Accountex, I'll give you a card and you can snap the little QR code. Hope that'll get you into the Facebook group more easily than typing. So look forward to seeing any and all of you next week.
Good to hear. Good to hear. And Johann, go for it.
Now, where do we start? So, next week I will be at Accountex. I will be there in many disguises. So I will be there with Aaron. We'll be doing loads of filming, so come and say hello. We will be doing Ask the Accountant at 4 o'clock on one of the big stages at Accountex on the first day. I will be speaking at the QuickBooks stage in the morning of both days. And I'm also there meeting the Client Engager team, meeting Client Engager users. And interestingly, we will be having a chat with the developer over a pint about AI and how it can empower our product in the future potentially. So watch this space for the fastest developing practice management tool. And if anyone wants to reach out and connect, then I am on LinkedIn.
If anyone reach out, bye then. I thought you were trying to say. Brilliant. It's going to be good. And we're really looking forward to Accountex. If we see you there at Accountex, do make sure you say hi. We've also got a little bit of a we've got a new outro to debut. So at the beginning of the year, we started with a new outro, and I think we've just enhanced it a little bit more. So that'll be enough tease there. I'll be talking at Accountex. Like Johann says, we'll be there. It was 4 o'clock, wasn't it? Yeah, 4 o'clock.
4 o'clock, 4 till 5, yeah.
Yeah, battle of the podcast as well. So any support we can get out there would be great. And I will also be talking at the QuickBooks stand as well, all about your efficiencies. So we're looking forward to it. Don't forget to get yourself recertified because that is very important. And with that, I'm going to debut our brand new outro. And with that, it's goodbye from me.
Goodbye from me.
And a goodbye from me.
Cheers all. See you next month. Bye.
As an accountant, I've got something to say. I'd like to introduce you to a whole new way to help small business clients. It's easy as 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. QuickBooks Online. Accounting you can customize. Just sit back and relax. It works with over 300 apps. It can sync up with
Client Engager, NetTracker,
and with
Gold Cardless, get paid easily. Cresco,
you'll get paid instantly.
Swoop,
Labs tracks your
funding options.
QuickBooks Online. QuickBooks Online can save money and time.
QuickBooks Labs.